All right.
Hey, welcome to Building Wins Live. Another day with Wes Wyatt and another great guest. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing dynamite. How you doing?
Yeah, it could not be better. I get to do all my rep agency work, and then I get to jump on and talk to you and talk to some great guests. I mean, how could life be any better?
It just does not get any better.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And I'm actually today recording, as you can see, not my normal background. I'm in a hotel just off the. Actually, every once in a while, we'll probably hear a plane. Yeah, I'm right in the approach. Delta, I didn't realize got that close. But anyways, yeah, I'm just in line about 2 miles from the airport or less. So, but yeah, so we've got as usual, another outstanding guest today.
Yes, we do. And you are proving that you are a hybrid road warrior. So I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and get to the guests and quit jibber jabbering?
I don't know. You're pretty exciting to talk to, but I think Waldo, from my experience, is even better. Not better than you, but close. It's a close second.
If you're going to have another WW on the show, it would be a good one to have him.
I think so. I agree. Let's go get your wingman. What do you think?
All right. Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's do it. Hey, welcome, Waldo.
Good to see you, Randy.
It's just great to have you here. I appreciate you and being here. I should say, Lieutenant Colonel retired Waldo Waldman.
Yeah,
Waldman, not Waldron. I went to high school with a Waldron, so.
It's all good. The Dweller of the Woods, I think in Latin it stands for.
Oh, is that what it is? That's cool.
Man, yeah, or German. I don't know.
That works for me. So love your background, and I understand from a quick pre-show that we're honored to have you as the first podcast from your new digs, huh?
So I've done hundreds of podcasts over the years, but I'm in a new office. Got the new backdrop, got the F-16 and all the good stuff. So, these days being able to communicate, have a good technology, IT tools is so critical. So I'm glad that I'm flying on your wing as my first podcast in the new digs.
Love it. Love that. Well, we're honored. It's even better. So first and foremost, and I would be remiss to not thank you for your service to the country. Wes and I, and I know the audience that we have is very thankful for what you and all your people have done in the past and people will do in the future. So seriously, thank you for that.
You got it, Randy. I have a saying that I share in some of my speeches and coaching. If you want to say thank you to the Americans who fight for our country, then be the type of American worth fighting for.
Love that.
And I think that's like, when you look at values and business protocols and commanding respect and a sense of worthiness as an American. Hey, if you're out there doing what we do as great Americans and as leaders in a global economy and global workspace, I think we're doing what we need to do to make a difference.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point. So Waldo, tell us a little bit, maybe to start, about you. Let's find out who Waldo is a little bit before we dig into your ideas of leadership and everything you've learned from the military and beyond, and your speaking career. Who in the world is Waldo? There used to be a game like that, wasn't there? Something.
Yeah, where's Waldo?
Where in the world? Yeah, where's Waldo? We'll go with who's Waldo today. How's that?
So you heard about me when I spoke at a national convention in
exactly
the buildings industry in the Opryland Hotel, which I'll be at in a few weeks. But for me, I'm 90% a leadership and sales keynote speaker. I speak at national sales meetings and association conferences, opening or closing events on collaboration, trust, commitment, all the things I learned flying that beautiful F-16 right behind me in combat, learning the dynamics of being that trusted partner, the wingman in life. And I also do executive coaching, mostly for entrepreneurs and leaders in transition, going to the next level in their business and life, teaching them about taking that next step, building resilience, horsepower, I call it, as much thrust as you can as a leader. So that's what I do. I wrote a New York Times bestseller called Never Fly Solo, which is about collaboration and trust and working as a team and leveraging courage to make tough decisions in life. Nice image there. Well done. And so that's kind of my core. And I built it up as an entrepreneur, scrappy, leveraging tools, technologies, relationships, business acumen, and waking up every day hungry to make a difference, hungry to grow my business and my life and my relationships.
Well done. So the and as I'd mentioned, I love talking to military folks about leadership, because there's a form of leadership that you learn from the military, and I speak from this, not having come from the military. I'm at an age, I just missed that Vietnam thing. I was looking at I was one that was looking at the lottery numbers every single night, and I remember those days. But my son's a former Marine, combat vet from Iraq, the second Iraq. So I have a special place in my heart for military. But the leadership, let's talk about that, because that's what you're all about, is teaching and training leadership. What in Waldo's world, and this is a really open-ended question, but that's where we'll go. What does it mean to be a leader to you? What's it mean to be a leader? Because I mean, it's a very important thing that a lot of leaders just think it's a title, but it's way more than that, isn't it?
Sure. We've all heard that before. I think it's really about influencing people in a positive way to create outcomes that are beneficial to the people that work with them and for them. A leader, you can lead through example. You don't necessarily have to be out there in the front. I like to say lead from the side. Many times a wingman is a leader, or a leader is a wingman, but a wingman doesn't necessarily have to be a leader, but they can still influence, make an impact on the team. So as you look at yourself and salute yourself every morning and staring at the most important wingman or wingman there is, yourself, you have to ask yourself, how am I influencing others, and how am I influencing myself? Building the confidence, the credibility, the skill set, the mindset to be able to take off in my jet and hit the targets and lead my teams there. And sometimes, like I said, it's about being a good follower. Leaders are followers, followers are leaders. If you were a wingman flying jets, you could never, ever become a flight lead and get upgraded to that level of responsibility unless you were a good follower, in position, listening to feedback, making changes, not complaining. And so it's always about influence, yourself, your team, and truly making an impact and delivering the outcomes that are critical for growth.
I love that point about learning to be a follower, because I think a lot of leaders, especially when they hit that position, and let's face it, a lot of people become leaders when they weren't ready, or maybe had no business even being a leader, but that's part of life, and they just got thrust into that position.
Right.
But I think it's key. Even as a leader, I think I'm hearing you say, even as a leader, and you find yourself in that position one day, you still got to follow every day, even as a leader, right?
Yeah, 100%. Because there's a time to be assertive. There's a time to make decisive action, take decisive action. And there's others to say, listen, the group came up with this, or the leader asked me to do this. Many times you don't have time, especially in combat and when decisions need to be made quickly, to doubt, to second guess, to question your leader or your teammate. Sometimes you have to have that ability to execute on the trust. And that's why a wingman, which is my brand, is a trusted partner in life. A wingman or wingmam is a trusted partner in life, somebody that you feel confident to go to for help. And if you look across your network, your wing work of people that work with you, for you, your contractors and whatever, do you feel comfortable going to them for help? And more important than that, are you the type of person, i.e. leader, that others feel comfortable coming to for help? And can people bring you their problems? And you're a leader if people are calling you for help, looking for advice, trusting you with your acumen, your judgment, your ability to see through the chaos, to get clarity on an object. And so it's important because there's so many informal leaders in our lives who make a significant impact on us. And for example, in my home office here, I've got my buddy Ron Wynn. He's a super IT guru, very sharp in marketing. He's one of the smartest guys I know. My son's having some healthcare problems right now, nothing major, thank goodness, but just so knowledgeable in so many areas, and his ability to counsel me, to give me advice and to get me on the right trajectory makes me consider him an amazing leader. Not formally, not in that position like you mentioned, Randy, but as somebody in my life who I can go to for help. That's a leader. That's a wingman. That's a trusted partner.
I love that, because so we're talking, as with most things in life, we're in multiple facets at any given time, right? We're out, we're a leader, we're a follower, we're a wingman, we're the commander of the mission, whatever words we want to use, right?
Right.
And that ability to build that trust with your people, whether it's in the military or whether it's in a business or whether it's in a church, whether it's in your family dynamics.
Right.
We find ourselves, I think about you, family's a great spot, right? You may be the patriarch of the family, but there's other people older, there's other people younger, there's people that have different opinions, different ideas, and I love that concept of leadership where I'm just not in charge because I have the title, right? I'm in charge when I should be in charge, but I'm also able to listen and to take feedback from everybody involved, because let's face it, many times the people that are closest to what's happening right now have way better feedback than we do as a supposed leader, right?
You got it. Yeah, it doesn't matter their rank, the color of their skin, all the other variables that others people may think that's important. If you're coming with solutions and have the tact to deliver them, and you're open to receiving those solutions, that feedback, right? That's critical. And that's so important that you brought that up, Randy, because a great leader is able to have others tell them what they need to hear and not what they want to hear. To even risk the relationship to do the right thing. So many people, if you look at folks in your life, once again, like, are you hanging out with yes men and yes women who are accepting your potential mediocrity or miscalculations and judgments and relationships in life? They see you gaining weight or becoming abusive to a peer or the Starbucks barista or whatever. Are they going to call you out? And so a great leader has to be humble enough to listen to those what we call break right calls. I call it break right because in combat, if a missile's coming at you, you can't see it, and you're going to see. I think I got a. So you see, I have this thing called check 6 on the screen. For those that don't see it, you can't see your most vulnerable position behind you, but when your teammates to your left and right, it's easier for them to call out the blind spots.
Okay.
Because as a leader, you may not see everything, but your teammate, your wingman, can build up the picture. And if they see a missile coming and tell you to take action, and you second guess them or doubt them, then you're going to get shot down. So really, really seek out those who are going to be true trusted partners and are willing to piss you off to help you. Right? If
Right.
you've got to be able to develop that team of leaders, and then also. You mentioned, Larry or Randy, your family members. I had a conversation with my 12-year-old son yesterday, and we were in the process of moving and all that. And I was very short-tempered with him. I was very barking. I wasn't very sensitive to him. And so I afterwards I said, Ace, I'm really sorry if I was being tough on you before. I apologize. Your dad was under a lot of stress, and I hope you can understand that, whatever. Right. And so I didn't exemplify leadership by being terse and intense with him, but I wanted to gain that trust back by admitting my mistake, the fact that I wasn't in my highest level, my highest order of performance at the time. And I think when you look at the people that you may tick off, that you may say something or act in a way that may not be truly emulating of a leader, when you clean up your messes, apologize, show that you're human, a little bit humble, then you'll garner that trust and respect and say, maybe I'm going to have a bad day or two, and my leader, my teammate, my dad or mom will appreciate that. So
that's great advice, because I think coming from my era, I can. The fact that you have a 12-year-old son, you're obviously a fair amount younger than I am, because I have great grandkids, so I'm like old. But That was where you say, "Geez, Randy, you don't look near that old," but you, Mr. Q. Well,
Yeah.
that's okay.
I was enthralled by your good looks and
Yeah, okay, you earned it back. Good job. But I come from an era where leaders, in my opinion, growing up, was exactly what you said. Was this hard-nosed, just pound you in the head, do it my way. I'm right whether I am or not. And I saw that with a lot of people, but I still remember the best leader I ever had and ever will have ever. He's been long gone now, but it was my dad. And he led just the opposite. And he's the one that taught me that he was the quiet, and he would never like just correct me with a smack to the head, not even virtually even, just or just figuratively. He would just go, okay, is that what you want to do? And I knew that was cue for okay, I guess he's got something to say, right?
Right.
And I'd say, well, I thought so. And he goes, well, you want to talk about it? And in my mind at 12, 13 years old, not really, but I figured it was best that I did because I learned early on, right? That's the kind of leader he was. If he didn't 100% agree with me, he never beat me up over it or just said, you're just wrong. It was always, well, tell me why you think you want to do that. And I think that's a virtue that we could all strive for. And you've talked about so well is to be that leader that people will trust, a confidant. And I really liked your take on that. You don't feel you have to be the yes man or the yes ma'am, right? You don't feel like you have to. You feel like you can go to your leader and say, sir, or ma'am, I disagree, and here's why. Can we talk about it? And I think that's something I always got with my dad. So I really like that, your take on that.
Yeah, and it goes back once again to influence, right? Your dad was able to influence you and do what I call give a vector correction, a little nudge in the right direction to get you to think. I was an instructor pilot for many years. Is flying jets, teaching young men and women how to fly and leading men and women in combat. And I always wanted to get into their head. What were they thinking? Why did you make that choice? Not just correct them and show them the right way, but a great leader is able to get into the heads and hearts of their teammates, the people that they're leading, to find out why they're thinking, what they're thinking, and how they can get to the core and teach them the right way. And so the great leadership laboratory is obviously being a father or mother, teaching your kids, and then applying that to different scopes in business. But influencing, it may be some people need to be influenced with stern, disciplined, hardcore, no bones about it, get to the brutal truth. Or like your dad, maybe marinate the steak just a little bit more based on your personality. Look, and we all know folks that get defensive when you give them feedback, that don't want to hear the truth, that you need to sandwich any negative feedback with some positive reinforcement, right? All these different tools that we use. But this goes back to, once again, situational leadership, right? The situation, the environment, the person, all those things come into play. And if you're a good leader, you got to know if you're flying in high altitude night or low altitude turbulence over the mountains, right? You need to know your weapon systems and tools that are available to you so that you can truly lead, influence in the right way, in the right time for the right wingman you're trying to coach.
Yeah, love it. So let's go to your best-selling book, Never Fly Solo. Excellent book. As a matter of fact, I after we were both at the same event in the Opryland that we talked about, that goes back 2-3 years at least.
Right.
I read the book, and it's very, very well written, very enjoyable, fun read. So let's talk about the book just a little bit, and what's people gonna get from your book.
Well, it's really business principles and life principles on creating those relationships with others that you can go to for help, right? That in the end of the day, you may be strapped into the cockpit on your own in your home office and business and insurance sales or a contractor or whatever. But the answers to life often come outside the cockpit, that you shouldn't be going at it alone, that if you learn how to ask for help, which takes a lot of courage many times and transparency, if you know to go to others for help, if you spend time working on those relationships before you need them, then when you call out Mayday to your teammate, your wingman or wingman, they'll be there for you. And then also garnering that mutual respect and that support by building trust in the most important wingman there is, yourself, to say, what do I need to do to continuously work on my health and fitness, to be receptive to feedback, to step outside my comfort zone, to dig into my core values. If I'm talking about trust and integrity, am I living it, right? And finding out what you're fighting for. I call it meaning to your mission. Some folks are flying by the seat of their pants every day. They may be successful, but they don't have a vector, a direction, a compelling goal to keep them on track. That's obviously going to change when you have kids or change a job or develop a certain amount of success, both financially or whatever you're looking at. So that's what it's really about. And I go through many principles on business, even in sales, right? Like, you don't fly by the seat of your pants. Wingmen never wing it. Right. So you did your due diligence. You even texted me. I want the folks to know, even on LinkedIn, I was on LinkedIn, said, hey, Waldo, ready to go. Let me know if you need help. You're a professional. You respected me. You've been on my site. You've done your due diligence. We're crafting an experience that, and we're selling influence to the people that invest in their time with us today. Right. And so I've got a sales background as well as in tech sales and commission only sales. So I always like to plan every mission as I did for a combat mission in the F-16 over Iraq, right? Do your due diligence, make sure your tools and weapon systems are good, communicate, and you'll be more confident. So those are the principles that the book discusses that and gives you a different perspective, obviously with Top Gun that just came out, Top Gun 2. Mm-hmm. It's a cool, sexy metaphor that many people remember. Flying jets is a cool thing. And that's what it's about. Yeah.
Awesome book. Highly recommended. I enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, you got me cranked to read it again now. It's been just long enough that, I found that the books that have been the most important to me probably in life are the ones that I've read 2 and 3 times, because it's almost like reading a new book again every time you read it.
Sure.
Yeah, because you miss, and especially I talk about managing yourself, leading yourself. I understand that one of my big weaknesses is that I can be a skimmer. I can get distracted easily on the next, silver object. And so I can read a book and realize that I read the book, but I didn't really comprehend or learn the book. Sure. Because I was just too busy to get to the end. And I think that's a good metaphor in life in general, is we get too busy to get to the end or to the next thing. Because I talk about, like, do you enjoy the journey? It's not just the destination, right? And I like the destination, or I like the journey, because when you love what you do and do what you love, which we've all done and are doing right now, I think that's hugely important. So the folks can get your book obviously on Amazon or any of the typical spots, I suppose. Yep. No problem.
Well, I'm also going to give, if you go on the screen here, it was a New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestseller. I like to give my audiobook away for folks. For those that see it on the screen, use your QR code, open up your camera, you can get it for free, and then you'll get zapped into my Resilience Challenge, a 5-video series on building courage and trust in your life and resilience. And then if you go to yourwingman.com/NFS, like Never Fly Solo, that's another way you can get the book. Give it to your kids as well. But that's how they could get that audiobook as a guest of your and listening to your podcast.
Beautiful. Love that. So you're also an incredibly engaging, and we talked about this, keynote speaker. You do, a lot of events a year. I don't know how many you do, but it's a bunch. Like I said, we were together in the Opryland a few years ago. What's the what are people going to get from? They're going to get a lot of what we just talked about, I'm sure. But what's people going to get from the Waldo experience as a keynote speaker?
Yeah, number one, reigniting your passion, right? Some people are so in combat all the time, dodging missiles, dealing with headwinds and turbulence and all the craziness going on, that sometimes it's easier to pull back the throttle and become deflated and hang out in the hangar of fear and doubt, paralyzed to take action, when true leaders need to push up the throttle after hearing that clear for takeoff call and get your asses airborne. and risk being shot at, risk losing, but doing everything you can to win. Building wins is the name of this podcast, right?
Right.
So you've got to say, if you're out there to win, and I have an acronym for win, it stands for work it now. We don't put off tomorrow what can be done today. And we got to sweat. We got to sacrifice. Sometimes we need a kick in the butt, not just a hug, and a hug is great, but sometimes a good, kind nudge, kick in the butt to say, get your butt going, get out of that cock, or get out of the hangar and get your butt airborne. So I try to ignite that with folks, especially when they're kind of in a funk, when change happens, then they're demotivated. We just came out of COVID combat, right? So I want to reignite that passion, reignite their values, and step out of their comfort zones, drive that. And then also to underscore the importance of preparation, like we talked about today, leveraging tools and technologies and relationships so that you can get airborne. I got a picture of a cockpit here. I'm going to show you, where was that bad boy? Like being mission ready, right? Using your tools, building that confidence. What books are you reading? What tools are you engaging? What are your contingency plans when you go to work every day? Are you flying by the seat of your pants? Are you prepared? And so I want to give tools on that. And then last and not least, hey, remembering all those folks that you're coaching and mentoring and the unsung heroes who are in your life. Everyone who's listening to this has that unsung hero. If it's not a spouse or a partner, if it's not your accountant, or your assistant or your sales manager, everybody's got somebody out there that's coaching and mentoring them along, and that's helping them to really reach out to that network of folks who you feel confident in, and fill in bank accounts in order to fill bank accounts, right? And build an appreciation with those folks who make a difference in your personal and professional lives. I try to kick people in the butt in a good way and get them fired up to take action. I'm 55 years old, and so I'm probably not too much younger than you, Randy, but because I started late. But even after this move, I've got to reinvigorate my passion and drive to take my life to the next level, which is why I was excited to fly on your wing today, my friend.
Yes, well, and it's exciting to have you because, like I said, it's funny, and I got one last question. Now, this is going back, and it would have fit nicer earlier on, but as I'm listening to you talk, things pop in my head.
Sure.
We talk a lot about planning, right, and how important planning is. Work your plan your work, all that kind of adjectives we use. But where does the ability come from to learn when you need to adapt? Because I'm a big believer. I have 3 things on my phone every day. And maybe as we finalize this, I want to be cognizant of your time. I have 3 things on my phone every day that are always there. It's 7:30 in the evening, and I start within the evening because I always start my day the night before.
Right.
Is plan, right? Sometimes that's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 45 minutes, sometimes it's 12 seconds. If I've got my day fully planned, I just analyze it, review it, and go, I'm good to go. If not, if I have to fix some things, I do. But then in 7:30 in the morning, I have adapt to remind myself that all perfect plans are not perfect, right? And I may have to adapt on the run. And then lastly, I have inspire in the afternoon, and that's a message to me to inspire myself first, kind of using the airlines. I always think about the mask drops down, and they always tell you, to put your own mask on first, right? And I always think about inspire as if I done anything to inspire myself, and if I done anything to inspire somebody else. So that's my 3 things that are non-negotiables in my phone every day.
Right.
And I'd really love to hear your thoughts, maybe as we finalize here, on planning and adapting, because I think some people are on the constant adapt mode, like they don't have no plans at all, which we know doesn't work. But then can you be too rigid? And I think I know the answer, getting to know you better, but can you be so rigid that, well, no, at 8:03, this was my plan, so that's what I'm doing, regardless of the fact that something came up that maybe makes something way, way more important to do at 8:03, right? So can you give me your planning versus adapting more than anything else?
Sure, yeah. So we have a saying in the Air Force, flexibility is the key to air power. Flexibility is the key to air power. You could plan it out. We plan the map, the route of flight, all this stuff with a micrometer, very precise tool. And then we carve the map with an axe. Right?
Yeah.
Meaning
Yep.
you can plan it all out, but things are going to change. Weather, headwinds, maintenance problems. Your wingman's going to fall out. The threat's going to change, right? Yeah. And you can make those analogies to business and life, the variables that are going to happen. And I've had a bunch of them, in life. My dad passed away. He was 93, lived a great life, moved into a new house, all these other crazy things, right? So you've got to be able to pivot, but then propel. Pivot, meaning you're just not changing direction. Now you've got to have a plan. But I love how you plan at night. But before I get into the office every day, I know exactly what I'm going to do at the end of that previous day. What's the plan? Wingman never wing it. You heard me say that before. And so this is what was important as a fighter pilot. Look, we had our plan. We briefed it. We had the discipline, the checklist items. And then today we had an objective to take out such and such target or to support this airfield. We knew exactly what the strategic and tactical objective was that day. And so if you're flying along, and this is important, folks who are listening, if you're flying along and your job is to take out a bridge, that's a very critical route of flight or route of travel for the enemy and, transferring fuel or troops. And you see a target of opportunity come up along that route of flight, another bridge or a tanker or another opportunity to shoot down another aircraft that may not be a factor to your formation. You have to beware of distractions disguised as opportunities. And my friend Jim Ziegler, not the Zig Ziglar, but Jim Ziegler, who's in the auto industry, just survived cancer. He's 70 plus years old, wonderful human being, made that quote up. And I always credit him. But it applies to the military in the fighter world and also to business. You have to beware of distractions disguised as opportunities. If your job is to take out the target, that bridge, stay focused on that. Don't go after the shiny objects that you mentioned before, Randy. Right. And you have to have that planned. However, if there's a threat that's going to be a factor to your day, that if you don't handle will prevent you from getting that, or if there's certain environmental changes, then you must be able to pivot with confidence. And this is why I always said we contingency plan every day. What are the priorities, the targets, the next target? Who's on our team that can help us? What's our plan if we're going to lose an engine, the weather changes, blah, 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 blah. So think about the contingencies in your life. Have a plan and don't panic. If it happens, have that plan on those contingencies. And here's the blessing. The plan you may have had or you may not have today can be earned and learned today through a podcast, through the book you read, through the investment in time and learning that new tool. And or contingency came up, I can't fly my plan. Hey, Mitch. Hey, Sabrina. Hey, Angela. Hey, Mike. I've got this issue. I don't have a plan. What do you think? Here's what you need to do, Waldo. Call this guy or gal. Here's a plan. So now goes back to being a wingman. You may be off course. You may have an emergency, but when you have teammates and wingmen, trusted partners to go to for help, now that confidence is in there for you to take more risks, step out of your comfort zone, push up the freaking throttle and make things happen. Because that's what leaders do. That's how you build wins.
Love it. Love it. Waldo, thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate it, my friend.
It's been an honor, Randy. Godspeed.
Yeah. As to you. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Never
folks.
Solo.
All right. You got her. There you go. Great. I mean, about 1,001 golden nuggets right there, my friend. Buy the book. Check out Waldo. If he's anywhere that you can get a chance to catch one of his speeches, you don't want to miss it. The guy is first class on stage, as I think you can probably tell. So that's it for today. I just want to, really thank everybody for watching again and listening and allowing me to do what I love and love what I do. Wes and I get a real blast out of being able to bring these podcasts and blogcasts and whatever else we do together. Some more exciting things coming down the pike that we're going to talk about in the next few weeks and months. So stay tuned. Until then, remember, do what Wes and I do. Love what you do and do what you love. You only get one go around on planet Earth, so live it, love it, own it. And as always, make today your best day ever. Till tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.